Welcome back, everybody at home, to JOSBSN, Jacko the Soccer Bro Sports Network. Back with another Sandy Nanners presentation. Week 2 of the 2023 volleyball season, as Jack starts us off with a serve. That one is not returned to make it a very quick 1-0 already for your Sandy Nanners. If you remember last week, things didn't go quite as planned, losing all 3 games 0-3 to start the season off. As the second serve gets popped up, it is returnable. Goes over the net. Colin is there for it. Sends it back. Still in play. Over the net. That's Jada. They're going to be kind of tough for me to tell apart. Colin slaps it back over. And this one gets spiked back into Allison. Great return. Sets it up for Max. Max tips it over into the middle. A little bit of a melee there for Team WR. What are the rules is their official name. And that point ends up going to the Sandy Nanners. A very well fought, hard-won second point of the game. We could be in for a long one here, as this serve from Jacko sails and smacks into the pole. That had no chance of staying in bounds. 2-1 is going to be the score. So in a second here, we will meet your Sandy Nanners back in the closest one to the camera. That is myself. To the left, one with the longer ponytail is going to be Allison. Gavin, once again with the colorful shorts on the left. We have a new Colin, a different Colin on the team. He is rotating into the middle now. Max is the server, and from here, the front left is Jada from last week. So 2 new faces here, being Colin and Allison, as Max aces that one. 4-1 is the score. A very quick lead and a very good start for your Nanners. A great way to bounce back. That serve was disgusting by Max. Clips the net, hangs up there for a second, and drops down. 5-1. Next serve, Max puts some heating, yes, he put some heat behind that one, and a little bit of a knuckle too. Makes it almost unreturnable for even the most seasoned of veterans. And he switches up to an underhand here, gets sent straight back over to the net. Colin tips it into a space that was left vacant by the front middle after going up for the block. 7-1. This could be an absolute blowout here for the Sandy Nanners. This serve from Max is going to be short. His run had to end there, although it was a good run, it must be said. Nice little high five there from the Twin Towers, as they are called. Let's see if we can see a bit more of that combination today. Another combination to look out for is up on that front left, the Gavin and Colin combination. This is a new one that they're experimenting with. Let's see how it goes. Great return there by Allison. Jack sets it up for Gavin, but it's not very close to the net. It gets sent over into a troublesome space. Gavin spikes it back down, and that one is unreturnable. She was already on the ground and not able to recover to get to that ball in time. I have no idea who any of these people are that we're playing, so names are going to be a little bit rough, because I don't know any of them. That one gets sent over, returned by the middle. Front middle sends it up, and there's a no comment on that one. 9-2 being the score now for the Sandy Nanners. Almost already an 8-point deficit here if they land this point. I can do math. It's 7 now. That one served into the middle. A tough spot to get to, but they do recover. Max sends it up. Allison, Colin in the middle, spikes it down, and that's exactly what you want to see. It gets sent into the back row, up to the front row, and then a very easy kill for the hitter, the spiker, if you will. Great work so far from the Nanners. This is exactly what they want to be doing. Jada serves here, very consistent last week, and that one is very quickly put over into a tough space to be returned. Yeah, as if you remember last week, Jada's serving was a highlight. One of the few highlights from that 3-0 thrashing that the Nanners received, but she was very consistent, and let's see if she can continue that today, as it appears that What Are the Rules are making a quick substitution here, bringing in another player onto their squad, or just switching out a player, pardon me. 10-3 is the score here. His serve is underhanded. Hard to receive. Max sends it straight back over. It gets settled down, tipped over. Colin sends it into the middle. Max spikes it from the back row. A lot of heat behind that one. Sends it to the man in the yellow. Max sends that thing to the moon. Colin gets there, tips it over, and that one is not returned. I believe the call on the play earlier was that Team What Are the Rules did not use their 3 hits correctly. The rules with this league is that one of your hits, if you hit the ball 3 times, has to be done by a woman, and they did not do that there and called themselves out on it. Later on, the Sandy Nanners will, that call gets much more lenient as the game goes on. That, I think, is the only time that one's going to happen, as that return goes into an uncomfortable space between the front left 2 players, and it gets dropped. 12-3, 9 points. Colin with the serve here. He has another very consistent serve. You will see. Nice little overhand floater. That one gets spiked down. Gavin is there able to get there, but Allison cannot recover his return. 12-4, still 8 points, a nice buffer for the Sandy Nanners to be working with here in Game 1 of Match Week 2. Serve is up, and it goes over Jada. A very tactical miss there, as that one ends up going out of bounds. I'm not sure if she was aware of it. As you can see, a man is calling tip there, but you can see on the camera from that angle, it was not tipped. Point to the Nanners. 13-4, 9 points. This one gets sent into the middle. Well returned. Colin is there in the back row for the Sandy Nanners. It gets sent to the man in the gray hoodie. Well received by the lady in the purple. Max back sets it to Jack, back sets it to Max. Doesn't go as planned. Colin recovers well, and it gets sent over by Jada in the end. Play settles down, and it gets spiked into the net from team What Are the Rules. 10 points. This is crazy. This is exactly what the guys wanted to be seeing. Just didn't happen last week, and this week, look at this. And that serve ends up getting sent out of bounds. Make that 9 points, but still, a 9-point buffer this early on in the game. It's exactly what you want to be seeing out of your squad. I'm certain they are all very pleased with themselves so far. As we see the serve coming in here, nice high ball into the middle. Colin takes that one with ease, sends it over to the other side. Jack tries to go up for a kill on it, but he's not able to get there. It's just over his hand. But the point drops anyway, 15-5, as Allison is serving. And that one is not even going to approach the net. Quickly caught and sent back over, 15-6. Let's take this brief little pause in the action to ask you to subscribe to the channel for more volleyball content, more soccer content, Subnautica content, whatever content I choose to make. I make a whole variety of things, and you should subscribe for that right there. I can do anything that you guys ask me to do on this channel. As Jack is back already in the serving rotation. The hard overhand serve to the front left corner, and that return from Allison is put in a tough spot for anybody to get to. Jack's diving attempt falls short, 16-7. 9 points seems to be the distance that they cannot approach or break away from. 9 points is the limit here in the gap. That is a great serve ace at the feet of Gavin. He had very little chance of returning that one anyway. And the way the Sandy Nanners play is they try to keep their front players up close, hugging the net on serves, and just rely on the back row only on those. That serve off the net, great up by Jack, sends it over to Max. That ball is going out of bounds, but it is played anyway. You can see Max celebrating them playing that ball, because that was not going to be in bounds. But the point still goes to the Sandy Nanners regardless. 17-8, and you got to think very similar to last week when the Nanners were looking already ahead to Game 2. You'd assume that Team What Are the Rules are doing a very similar thing here. Maybe just going to see this one out and then go from there. Max's serve. He had a very strong first round of serves early on, and that continues, targeting that left corner there to make it a 10-point game once again. Max is not able to haul that pass in. Let's see what he can do on his next serve here. Serve number, I think this is 5 for him already. He's had a hot hand. Another one rifled into the middle. That one gets sent over. Jada tips it up for Colin. Spikes it home. What a point there. That's exactly what they brought Colin on the squad for. A collegiate athlete, a collegiate high jumper at that. That's exactly what they want to see out of him. Those high flying spikes into the sand with no chance. What a serve there from Max. Tipped over. That one's going to be to Jada. Colin spikes it down again. It gets recovered, though, and sent over. Yes, it is sent over. Allison sends it up. Colin sets it for Gavin. Gavin has a chance to spike. Goes long with it. Sends it into the middle. This one gets put up. Gavin on his feet still. He's quick. He's light. He's there for it. Gavin can spike this one home. No, he doesn't. It's not on the right side of the net. This is the black. Gavin once again here sends it into that left corner. Gavin's spikes into the back row, working early on in this game. 12 points being the difference now between the Sandy Nanners and What Are the Rules. After all that, it is still Max's serve. Let's see if he can continue the run he's been on here. This serve, it's going to be into the net. Not very far off, but into the net regardless. Making the lead be only 11 points at this time in the match. 5 points needed to get the win here. It's almost certain at this point. Let's just see what the gray hoodie can do with his serve. A nice floater ball into the back row, and it's going to sail out of bounds there. Jack lets it fly over his head. No worries there. Jada's up with the serve now. We know her for being highly consistent. Let's see what she can do with her. Nice underhand looping ball that tends to go right in that middle area. That one went a bit further back than normal. Gavin is up for it. It gets recovered off of his another back row spike, and this spike gets sent. Jack recovers it well. Colin tips it over to Max. Max hits it over the net, on the net. Jack tips it up. Max, I'm getting the twins mixed up, and I am one of the twins. How embarrassing is that? As there's a minor little slip in the front row there to send that point over to the Nanners. How sad is that? I am one of the twins, and I'm getting our names wrong. We look completely different on camera. Max has the pink headband. Max has the dark blue shorts. I've got the black headband and the cyan shorts. Colin with the spike! Oh my! Let's get a replay on that thing. Flying high, sending that thing down. Bang! Look at the twins here. That right there is why they're the twins. They have the exact same reaction, and that reaction is very warranted. What a spike there from Colin. Oh my. That's not necessary in a 23-9 game. If their morale wasn't already damaged enough, it sure is now, as that one gets sent into the middle for the purple tank. And that one's tipped up by Max. Jack gets put out of position there by Jada's initial return. And that cuts the lead down to 13 here, as it's only 2 points needed to get the win here for the Sandy Nanners. It's all but guaranteed at this point. The serve is up. That one gets over to Jack. Jack returns it nice and high. Max is able to get there. Send it up to Allison. Allison bumps it over, and that one gets backed out on by the man in the blue shorts. 1 point here to take game one for the Sandy Nanners. Let's see what they can do here. Colin up with the serve. He was very consistent with his first batch of them. Does he stick with it? Yes, he does. A front row overhand serve that kind of loops. It's interesting for sure. That one is... That's interesting. And that right there is going to be game one completed, 25-10. Although there was a minor mishap registering the score, as it is always tough to count to 25 when you're playing a game. It's tough to count to 25 regardless. That one gets sent over, and it gets recovered, sent over the net. Max here tips it up. Allison sends it out for Jack, spikes it home. That right there is where they call it an emphatic first win for your Sandy Nanners. A great way to bounce back after last week's dismantling at the hands of Malik and his team. 26-10 being the final score of game one, as the Sandy Nanners take it with ease. Moving on into game two now. Let's see if Team What Are the Rules can bounce back from that one whatsoever, as that serve gets sent straight out of bounds once again by the man in the gray hoodie. And that creates a very quick 1-0 lead for the Nanners again. Jack is back up to serve. That's the way they start the rotation. He's always first serve. And now he gets sent into the middle. A little bit of a fist return there, and a bit of a miscommunication there between those two. And Jack has to struggle to get there. Doesn't get good contact on that. Smacks that one off of the wrong part of his arm, and that one's not going to make it over the net. 1-1. Already a better start from Team What Are the Rules here after that miscommunication there in the front row for the Sandy Nanners. This serve gets sent. Gavin is equal to it this time. Max tries to just quick set it over the net. It doesn't happen. He goes into the net with it this time. And I believe this is the first lead of the game for What Are the Rules. A very similar game track to last week, just the roles are reversed this time for the Sandy Nanners. This serve was sent to Gavin. He backs out, but Allison's there. Max tips it over, tips it up again. Allison sets it up. Max back bumps it over. This one's recovered. Max is there on it. Excuse me. And this one does a little bit of a scramble there for Team What Are the Rules. Ties the game once again. It's not once again at 2. It's tied up once again. But it's at 2 apiece for the first time in the game because, you know, a score can only happen one time in a game, right? That makes sense. Max on his serve here. Great spot there. Sends it into a hard area to receive between those two in the back left. Great serve. 3-2. He's had the hot hand tonight on the serves. Grab a little swig of water there. Very handy when you're talking over these games. Another serve from Max. This one is going to be short. Once again into the net, and his luck may have not luck. Those serves he was sending earlier on in the game were not luck. Those were very good, very skilled serves. This one gets sent over. Allison sends it. Max tries to set up Gavin. Gavin sends that thing a little bit too far for his liking. Once he starts getting his arm up around and over the ball, his spikes are going to be lethal, but you can see for now a lot of them are getting like a little bit behind the ball, a little bit underneath the ball, and he sends that one straight over. It gets returned in 3 hits there. Colin is quick and equal to it. Gavin sends it straight back. Set up once again. Quick tip. Jack is there on it. Gavin sends it over. Gavin is sending everything over here. A very similar track here. This one gets tipped over. Colin is more than equal to it. It gets set, bumped, and sent over into the back row. Allison's there. That one, Jack saves it. Colin sends it over. Quick reactions there. It's already straight back to Jack. Jada cools the game down a little bit there, setting it into the back row. This one's going to set up. Almost spiked. Max is equal to it. This one's going to fly. Kept alive. This one might be over the net. Sent. Now it gets sent over. Colin is very quickly once again to tip it. It gets sent up. Sent back. Allison is there. Straight up. Gavin sends it. Purple shirt. It gets tipped over. Jack tips it up for Colin. Colin bumps it over. I can't even talk fast enough to keep up with this. Sent over into the back row. Jack sets it up for Gavin. Gavin spikes it. And that is going to end the point there. 1 point for your Sandy Nanners. And what a point that was. So hard earned. Well won. Well fought for. That was just high quality, world class, you could say, volleyball from your Sandy Nanners there. That was great from everybody on that squad. For 1 point, all that for 1 point. As Jada sends it over to the back row, it was perfect for Gavin there. He just had to jump and touch the ball, and he was guaranteed a point on that one. And the Sandy Nanners finally take the lead once again in this game. 5-4 being the score as Jada still on the serve, sending it a little bit deeper into the back row. It gets tipped up and over, and that one's going to fly out of bounds, making it a 2-point game here as Jada continues her run of serves being very well placed and very consistent. Couldn't ask for much more. So that one gets sent over. It's well returned, set up here for the man in the blue shorts. Doesn't get much velocity on that spike. Allison gets there. Gavin has to backwards bump that thing over, and nothing doing there. 6-5 being the score here. That was a very long batch of 3 or 4 points there. A lot of good volleyball, a little bit of scrappy volleyball, you could say, as that serve is going to be just short of the net. It goes straight back into the possession of your Nanners. Colin getting his second batch of serves, I believe, tonight in this game. This serve gets sent to the back left. Purple tank lady gets up. It gets spiked over by the shortest person on that squad. Bit of a miscommunication there between Max and Jack, and that's going to create an easy point there for our team. What are the rules to make it a 7-6 game in the favor of the Nanners? Now let's see what she can do with her serve. It's a high flying ball. Max is more than equal to it. It gets tipped up above where Jack can get it, and it gets spiked down by the man in the orange, pink, red. I'm not sure what color those are shorts. It's a nice color. I just can't quite tell what it is from here. I feel like I'm going colorblind. I'm joining Max in that squad right now. Allison sends it up. No, that was Jada. Allison gets there in the end. Max spikes it into the back row. His back row spikes have been a thing of beauty as of late. Max is equal to it, but it gets tipped in a spot where Jada, that is Jada. I apologize, you two. I'm sorry. It's like, I bet you guys can tell yourselves apart just fine. But from my point of view, like, other than the hair, I mean, that's kind of all that there's distinguishing you right now. And I gotta talk fast to keep up with this. As soon as it gets sent to Jada, Jada's there. Jack tries to tip it up for Gavin. Gavin sends that one out of bounds once again. Very similar, very reminiscent of one he had earlier, just on the opposite side, sending his spike out of bounds. But like I said, once he starts getting his hand more up on top of the ball, it's game over. He's going to be on top of those all day. Jada is there and equal to it. Allison tips it up for Gavin on the set. Gavin was not quite quick enough. What a return there by Jada, and Colin gets a foot to it, but it is not quite enough there to save the point. 7-10, a little bit of a run now for Team What Are the Rules. Let's see how your Nanners can respond to this one. The serve goes up. It gets sent to Jada once again. Max Jack tries to send it up to Gavin. Gavin finally gets a spike to land and makes the point. 8-10, 2 points. And Gavin is going to be on the serves here. I honestly do not remember how consistent or inconsistent or good or bad he's been on the serves, but I believe this one's going to be just fine. Yes, it is into the front row. This one gets tipped over. Gavin in the back row is equal to it. Allison sets it up for Max and Jack. They both go up for it. I'm not sure who made contact with that ball, but it worked out for him. Colin tips it up here. Max is going to be on that one. Sends it into the back row. That one's going to land. He hit that thing with pace, and it is just barely found its way inside the lines into an open patch of sand. I believe the man in the blue shorts tried to dodge it, believing it was out, but a very close call, and it's going to be in as Gavin sends it up and over on the serve, and that one is going to be not returned by Team What Are the Rules. Tie game, 10-10. A very good response here from the Sandy Nanners after going down and facing that 3-point deficit a little bit earlier on. This serve might fly out of bounds. It gets kept in by the man in the yellow, sent over on 2 hits. Gavin is there for it. Jada's going to get the second hit, and that one's going to go straight over. Max is going to get beat on the hit. It's going to go right up over his block. Nothing he can do there other than maybe jump another 6 inches taller, but, you know, not everybody can jump another 6 inches taller. Not everybody on this squad is Colin, you know? Not all like that. And that one's going to be 1-point lead here for Team What Are the Rules. Jada is equal to it, sends it up for Max, and that one's going to just be out of his reach and left alone by the man in the gray hoodie there. Point for Team What Are the Rules there. A little bit of a debate here as to whether or not that was touched or in or out or whatever, but it's going to end up falling to Team What Are the Rules, as it should be. Serve now for the man in the, I'm going to say, pink shorts, and that one's going to be just short once again. That spot on the net has been a very popular target for servers as of late. Let's see what Allison can do here on her second serve of the game. The first one wasn't quite what you want. That one hits the net and finds its way over. It gets kept in play, and Colin gets beat on it in that back corner there. A tough spot to return to, especially when he was playing as far up as he was. And it's a 2-point lead once again for Team What Are the Rules. Very different track for the game to be on compared to the first one. That 25 or 26 or whatever it was to 10 thrashing from earlier is not the case anymore. Allison gets the second hit, sends it up for Max. Max spikes it into the block, but it ends up finding its way down on the very happy and healthy side of the net for the Sandy Nanners. 1 point being the score here, as the difference between the score here, as the main rotation is back up. That serve had a bit of a spin on it. It makes it hard to return here. Tie game as we enter the top of the lineup here for the Sandy Nanners. Jack hitting a little jig for the camera there. We are not going to show that one from that other point of view. Thank you very much. And let's see what he can do here with this next serve. That one is going to float, and it's going to be just out of bounds a little bit. It certainly was not as far out of bounds as the one he missed last week. If you were here for that, that thing went sent to the moon and back in there. I think Jack was pointing that out to Gavin and Allison. Allison wasn't there last week, so she's got to catch up on all the misinfo. What a serve there. Allison gets beat on it. That thing had a surplus of topspin. It created a nice dipping motion to once again build a 2-point lead here for Team What Are the Rules. The serve up once again. This one's going to fly. Gavin gets there. He maybe could have let that one go, maybe not. It's hard to tell from up here. And that was not going to be returnable by Jack and his efforts to get there. We get a flying ball into the court here. Once that gets taken care of, we'll get back underway with the action. And their Team What Are the Rules? #1 server once again building up a bit of a lead here. This one gets sent. Gavin is equal to it this time, and that one might have been out of bounds. Gets kept in, and the return is not going to be there. They get out of the rotation. They survive the #1 server from What Are the Rules and face a 2-point deficit here as we enter in the back half of this game. Another errant serve there from Max. That's 2 in a row, I believe, from him. He might have to switch things up to that underhand that was working quite well at the end of last week's game. 3 points here being the score. This one gets sent over. Allison, that looked the exact same as Gavin's from earlier. Gavin gets 2 hands on the set. Doesn't quite get a good enough 2 hands on it. Allison doing the exact same thing there. 4 points. I believe this is the biggest lead of the night for Team What Are the Rules up to this point. Max gets there. A very good return. Colin tips it over backwards, and great work from him there. I don't believe they expected that one, and they're not able to return his kill off the backwards spike. Pardon me. My English is struggling right now. This serve gets sent high and over. He gets there, but it's not a good enough tip to keep it in a attainable region of sand for his teammates there. That one might have been going out of bounds, might not have. Can't fault him for the hit there. 2 points. It gets brought back just a little bit by the Sandy Nanners. Jada serves once again very well. Tipped over backwards, and Jack cannot get down quick enough to get a good paw onto that one. That one's going to be another quick point, quick in and out for the Sandy Nanners servers there, as that one's going to go to Team What Are the Rules, buffering their lead up to 3 points once again. This serve here, that one's going to fly out of bounds. No concerns there for the Sandy Nanners squad. 2 points is the difference in this one, as Colin is up to serve here. He's the guy you want to be serving in this type of situation. He's got a nice, good floaty serve. It's very consistent. It might not be the hardest thing to return in the world, but it will always, 10 times out of 10, land in the other side of the net, as proven there it can be difficult to return and can create a good bit of communication errors between the front and back rows just by the way the ball flies through the air. 1 point. Sandy Nanners have brought it back from that 4-point deficit they faced earlier. Let's see if they can get 1 point here to take. They wouldn't take the lead here. They tie the game, but this one gets sent definitively into the back row this time. Set up. Man in the yellow sends it back over. Max gets a hand to it. Jack backwards bumps it over. This one gets sent back. Jack spikes it home off the block. What a block there from him. That's what they needed. They need that kind of motivation, boosting performance, that kind of play when the game is this close and approaching its final 6 points to be played. Collins' serve once again unreturnable. A great spot there. Sends it deep into the back row and splits the difference there between the yellow and purple clothed individuals on the What Are the Rules squad, as the Sandy Nanners take their first lead in quite a while. I don't remember what the score was when they last had a lead. Colin goes for a jump serve, puts some heat behind it, and is well returned by the man in the yellow shirt. Goes straight back to Colin. Gavin is up for it. Max tips it up. Colin spikes it from the back row, sends it over. Orange shorts is equal to it. Tipped over once again. Gavin sends that thing up. Allison gets there. Jack's backwards a spinning attempt doesn't quite land inbounds there. A little bit of a scramble there. Not the most organized play we've seen from the Sandy Nanners. As the point goes to team What Are the Rules? A tie game 20-20 with 5 points left to go. This could go any which way. As the serve goes up, Allison gets there. Max has a second hit, sends it straight over to the man in the blue shorts. This one gets tipped up. Jack is not able to make the block. Gavin gets it put down on his head, and his teammates are letting him know more than anybody else on the other side. I tried to mix up those two words there. As the team What Are the Rules take a lead with 4 points left to go for them to get the win. I believe now would be a very appropriate time to mention that it is a win by 2 situation here. So once we get to 25, if anybody is not winning by 2, you gotta win by 2. Gavin sends that one over into the back row, and the man in the gray hoodie has a momentary loss of footing, and that's gonna tie the game up once again at 21 apiece for these two squads here. As Gavin's serve is up once again. He sends a nice floater there into the back row, sent straight back to Gavin. Colin goes for a backwards set or kill spike, whatever you want to call it, from the back row, and it is not going to make its way over the net. Jack got a hand to it, but it wasn't enough of a hand to tip it over the net. 21-22, that serve sails out of bounds there. Once again, no concerns off the serve. Straight back into it here from Allison. Gets a nice serve over the net. Her third or fourth serve of the day. I'm not sure which it is, and that's going to be a very good point here for your Sandy Nanners. I might have missed putting that point up on the board. I'm not quite so sure if I did or did not. Jack spikes that one in anyway. 23-22. We're going to say that's the score here. I believe it is 24-22 right now. I believe so. Ignore the scoreboard here for a second there. Pardon me on that one, folks. As that one gets sent straight back over, it is above Jack. Max sends it up over after Allison's great receive. Jack is a little bit lost there, sends it over. Jada gets there, over to Allison. Max tips it up, spikes it down, and this one gets sent. Max spikes it once again into the back row, and that is going to be game 25-22. Yes, I do believe I made a little bit of an error there with the scoreboard. Pardon me, but the game is won 25-22 regardless here for your Sandy Nanners as they take the 2-0 lead here as we go into game 3. The win has already been secured, but however, they are just playing for that extra point here that you will attain if you win all 3 matches in a night. And that is another very quick point there. 1 for the Sandy Nanners. A lot of serving errors from team What Are the Rules that has certainly benefited the Sandy Nanners tonight. Jack goes for a looping underhand serve. It gets returned straight back over there. Allison is equal to it. Max sends it over. Great bump from him. That was crafty. Sends that thing over the net with pace. And a nice low, hard to return. 2-0 here is the lead early on for the Sandy Nanners as Jack continues with the serve. Goes for an overhand one that time, and it does not make its way over the net. Smacks into the middle bottom of it. 2-1 is the score here. A score we've seen very often throughout this match week. This one gets sent hard at Allison. She gets there. A bit of a miscommunication there between Jack and Gavin. They quickly make amends for that one. 2-2 is the score here. Tied up at 2 for the second time tonight. This time I can say they are tied up again at 2-2. This one gets sent to Gavin. Gavin gets there. Allison is able to recover on it. Jada sends it deep with a backwards bump. She puts some velocity behind those arms of hers. That one gets sent up for Jack. Jack goes straight back over with it. Allison gets there. Jack sends it up for Max. Max has some time to recover. Does a hard set over to the other side. This one gets up with pace. Colin spikes it down. 3-2. Way to end that one right then and there by Colin. That's exactly what the Sandy Nanners need out of him. I know I've said this before. But that could be a game changer right there. That one gets sent straight back over the net off the serve there. Max is trying to make a debate. That one could be, redone because it looked very similar to the play last week from Malik that ended up being replayed. But this squad is not Malik's team. They are not going to cede that one. They are sticking strong with their opinion and possibly a little bit frustrated with events throughout the night so far. Nobody likes losing. That's, evident enough throughout all of human history and society. And they're still going at it here. But the serve is going to stay with Team What Are the Rules here. This one's going to send Jack. Does not get a very good hand on it. And that one's going to get sent out of bounds here, straight off of his return. Not many errors so far we've seen from the Sandy Nanners tonight, but that is going to certainly be one on that return. And the first lead of the night now, of this game. And that one almost hits the camera there. Jack watches that thing fly out of bounds there. 4-4 tied up once again early on in Game 3. As Jada is up to serve once again for your Sandy Nanners. I feel like a broken record at this point. I've said all that there is to say. It's a lot of repetition at this point. Jada sends that one up, and that one's going to get... Wow, good return there by... I can't even see who that was, man in the yellow. This one gets tipped back over. Max is very equal to that spike. Gavin, this time, sends it down over the net. And the Sandy Nanners are hype about that one. The lady in the purple and Gavin were developing a little bit of a rivalry, a little bit of a beef going on between those two as the night progressed there. And that might have just settled things there once and for all, as that serve from Jada is going to go out of bounds. I believe that's her first missed serve. That's her first missed serve, of the season for the team. So, applause to her. That was, a very good run she went on as their number one server's up. Jack gets it up. To Allison. Allison sends it up to Gavin. I got ahead of myself there. That one goes over the net, and Gavin did not expect it. Max was too deep, and that one's going to be a quick point for Team What Are the Rules as they have their number one server up in the rotation here. Let's see how they can return this one, as this one's going to go over to Jada, who once again, similar to earlier when the one that went over her head, does a tactical leave by missing the ball as it goes out of bounds. We believe that was very intentional by Jada. She knew what she was doing there, missing. Benefit always goes to whoever's on the Sandy Nanners. Benefit of the doubt. As Colin is up to serve, as we face a tie game here, 6-6. Let's see what he can do with his serve. Not bringing out the jump serve that he developed last game, and that one's gonna go just over the net. And Gavin was pushed out of position a little bit, trying to get up at the net for the other one. Colin was not able to fill the spot quite quick enough. 6-7. Another lead here for a team. What Are the Rules? Who haven't seen many leads tonight. Max does well to return that one. And a bit of a miscommunication there between those two in the middle for your Sandy Nanners. But that's alright. No worries there. Everybody's had a little bit of a difficulty with that tonight. Certainly something for the squad to fix as they move forward into this one. Max gets a nice set to the serve. Allison bumps it up for Jack. Jack goes for the spike, and he lands it. He's had a nice batch of spikes today. He doesn't get the most heat behind him, but they somehow have been finding empty sand today. They've been working, as that cuts the lead 2-1 for Team What Are the Rules. Gavin serve here. A nice floater into the back middle. This one gets sent up over. Jack spikes that one down and puts it in a good spot where the lady in the purple is not able to get a good hand on it. Jack sends his regards to Gavin for that set, for that serve, or I'm not sure what it was. I don't remember what the play was anymore. Tie game 8-8. Gavin serve goes into the exact same spot. It gets sent over. Colin is equal to it. Jada tips it up. Max tries to find some empty bit of sand, but the man in the green recovers quick enough. Colin goes for a spike from the back row. Nothing doing there. I'm not sure how well you can hear this from your point of view at home, but from mine, I could hear a friendly bit of banter going on by some people behind the camera here towards Colin. So we had to go prove a point there real quick, and it didn't work out so well. Jack tries to set it up for Allison, like she is another 6'3" member on the team. It ends up working out there, kind of riding the net a little bit and then falling into a difficult area to return. 9-9 is the score here. I don't know how that one worked, but it did. No complaints there. Allison is up for the serve. This one is, once again, not going to make it over the net, as Jack gets his noggin to it to send it over. Perfectly legal play, if that goes over the net, by the way. 100% legal. Team, what are the rules? Take a 1-point lead once again here. Gavin on the return. That one gets sent over to Jada. Max and Jack once again go up for it. They've been doing that a lot today. Another one. Jack tips it up for Max. Max spikes it down. No net whatsoever there. That's what he says. But there was actually more net than what you'd see at your average basketball game with Steph Curry playing in it. And somehow that point ends up going to the Sandy Nanners despite the more than obvious net call there from Max. You could hear that thing from at home. I guarantee that one gets sent over. Jada does well to get a hand to it, but it is not going to be enough to set up any of her teammates with it. Unfortunate there, unlucky, but nothing wrong there. That was a tough one to return for anybody, and that one's going to fly just out of bounds. Jack gets called off of it, I believe, by Gavin. I think that's who I heard there. And 11-11 tie game is the score. As we head, once again, we are approaching the back half of game number 3. The Sandy Nanners trying to close out a 3-0 win here over team What Are the Rules. Jack gets 2 hands to that one, and Allison ends up sending it over into the middle there. Gavin goes for the block, doesn't get it. It gets kept alive by Allison. Well done by her. Max sends it over, and I believe Jack probably could have gotten there, but he just didn't want to potentially kill Jada on that one. And player safety certainly should take precedent over winning the point there. So I believe we can let him slide for not getting any hands to that one. 11-12 being the score here. A lot of messy, scrappy volleyball here as that serve is going to go out of bounds once again. I remember making a comment earlier about how many points the Sandy Nanners got off of errant serves from this squad, and it's a lot of them. That tally just keeps packing and stacking up and up. I don't believe I was measuring that as I was going through the stats with Max earlier on, and Gavin very easily sends that one down. He had no troubles with that time. All he had to do was jump up and get a hand to it, and once again, very similar to a play earlier, it was a guaranteed point. That serve there from Jada goes far, gets sent over. Max is equal to it, sends it up for Allison. Gavin there on the spike this time he lands it nicely, getting up over the ball like we were asking him to earlier on. Great work from him. 14-12 as the Nanners take a 2-point lead here in the back half of this game. Game 3. That serve from Jada, another one well placed into the left corner there. Gets tipped up, and that one is going to be in the trees just about. Not all that playable for the man in the orange, pink, red, whatever you want to call them, shorts. They look different depending on which camera I'm looking at here. For some reason, my phone has this color, but when we switch over to the GoPro, it takes everything to the orange dimension. Like, we get sent to Mexico in that thing for some reason. I don't know why. And there's another miscommunication there. 4 points is the lead for the Sandy Nanners, pulling away a little bit. Once again, look who the server is. It's Jada. This rotation works really well when they have her back there. Serve once again, gets sent to the front row. Lady in the purple gets there. It gets tipped up for her on the spike, and Jada's more than equal to it. That was likely heading out, but she gets good hands to it regardless. That one gets tipped up, spiked over by the man in the orange. See on this camera, they're extremely orange looking. Tipped over. Gavin is there equal to it. A little bit of a scramble here. Max just sends things over nice and high to calm the play down. Colin does not go for the block there. Ends up getting a good hand to the ball anyway. Sent straight back to him, straight back over. And it's placed on the side here. Gavin sends it up. Once again, getting up on top of the ball a little bit better. Colin is equal to that return there. Jack, I don't know who that was, actually sent it over. And that one is won by the man in, on this camera, the orange shorts, sending it down in an area that Colin just could not get to that time. Although he did have a very good run of returns there for the Sandy Nanners here. You can't win them all. You know, you can't win them all. 16-13 here is the score in Game 3 as we approach the end of the night's festivities. The number 1 server is back up for Team What Are the Rules, and you can see right there why she is their number 1 server there. What a spot there. What an ace on Max. And no fault on him on that one. Like, legitimately, that was just a perfect serve. Nothing he can do. Gonna grab another swig of water here. Who would have thought talking for 40 minutes straight would have a toll on your voice, huh? And that serve, well, so much for me calling her the number 1 server on the court, because that one gets sent out of bounds. And it gets back to Colin. 17-14. I don't think he's had a single missed serve tonight, which is another thing that the Sandy Nanners definitely need. Consistent serving is a key to success in this league for sure. As you've seen how the last two games have been close between the Sandy Nanners and What Are the Rules, but the discrepancy between the serving accuracy has been huge as that spike goes into the net. Once again, rebuilding the lead to 4 points here as Colin keeps his serve with 5, 6, 7 points I can count to play for to get the win here today. And that one's going to go out of bounds. 5 points, and this one is just once again starting to creep away from Team What Are the Rules and fully into the hands of Sandy Nanners. They've got 1 foot on the victory here. I know that's not a saying, but I'm making it one. A bit of a miscommunication there. It gets recovered, and a nice, and wow. Whiff. Swing and miss. Whiff. Nothing but air ball, whatever you want to call it. That was a miss. That was a miss and a half there from Jack as it bounces off of his head and not on his hand where it was supposed to be. 4 points is now the difference here. Jack's able to make up for his error there as Gavin sends it over against the block from the man in the blue shorts. Gavin being just better. I don't know, skill issue as he ends up winning the point for the Sandy Nanners. 5 points is the deficit here, and 5 points is what is needed to win 3-0 for the Nanners. Can they do it here? That serve gets sent over by Gavin. A well-placed serve here. Makes the guy in the blue shorts decommit out of it, and the man in the pink shirt was not able to fully recover from that decommit. And that one gets sent over. Good spike. Jack gets a nice hand to it. Colin ends up tipping up to Max. Max sends it over. That one's going to fly out of bounds as Gavin watches it go. 7 points being the difference here in this one. Great way to end the game for your Sandy Nanners. That one gets sent into what I thought was going to be the back middle. Gets taken up by the front person. And Colin gets a foot to it on the return. But it is not enough to keep it in play for any of his teammates. As the deficit is now cut to 6 points here. But with 3 points to play for in this game, it might just be too little too late. From Team What Are the Rules? It might just be. Let's see what he can do here. In the orange shorts on the serve. Goes over to Jada. Jada gets a nice bump to it. Jack sets it up for Max. Max's spike is not good enough, but he gets a second hand to it. Blocked once again by Jack to make it a 2-point game here. Another one big at the end of the game for Jack to almost seal it for the Sandy Nanners here. Let's see what Allison can do on her serves. This one is going to find its way over the net just barely. And that one's tipped over. Colin gets a nice bump to it. Max goes for the spike, and it's going to land on Sandy Nanner territory. I'm not sure if anybody got a hand of that or what happened. I couldn't really tell from where I was here up in the studio. 23-17, though, is the new score after that point was won. This one gets sent over. Gavin does not get a very good return on it. He was forced to backtrack, and that is going to create another point here for Team What Are the Rules. A comeback very well could be on. Although, given the fact that there's 2 minutes left in the video, maybe not. Just gonna break like the fourth wall real quick there, and yeah. This isn't actually live commentary, by the way. Crazy, right? I know. Who would have thought that I can't play the game and then commentate at the same time? What? Yeah, wild. This serve takes a while to go, and that's gonna fly out of bounds, almost hitting the children. They've been running around this whole time, haven't they? I kind of forgot about them. Jack's going to be on the serve here. 1 point left to win here. He ends up giving out a little bit of a ask to his teammate to try to set up Max here, because look who Max happens to be facing up against there. It's that one lady in the purple. That serve gets returned straight away from Jack. Jada sets it up for Max. Max is able to get there. This one gets kept alive by Jack. And then, Allison was that? Sends it over. Max spikes it hard. It is recovered by the man in the yellow shirt. Purple shirt is not able to get there, and that is going to be game 3-0 for the Sandy Nanners. A great way to come back from their 0-3 game earlier on last week in the season. Now let's take a look at your stats tonight for the Sandy Nanners. Colin with a perfect serve rate. Jada was at 94. Gavin at 92. A big improvement from last week from everybody receives. Max, Jada, and Colin were very close, all within 1 percentage point leading the way. In terms of kills, Gavin crushed it with 9, Max with 7, Colin with 6. That is a very strong big 3 there. Assist goes to Allison with 5, Jack with 3, and Colin with 2. I believe that number was the most surprising to me later on. Blocks, Gavin and Jack both had 2 apiece, Max with 1. Now let's take a look here at digs. Jack with 2 of them. He likes to get down in the dirt more than anybody else on the squad, and Jada and Allison both had 1 apiece. And now, let's take a look at your season stats. Another thing we are going to be keeping track of this season. In terms of kills, Max is leading the way, only by 1 over Gavin with 12 and 11 apiece. and then Colin 6 behind. Assists 5, 5, and 4 from Allison, Aubrey, and Jack there, very close. Jack, Gavin, and Max all leading the way with blocks. Colin will probably make his way up there eventually. He's just only played 1 game. Diggs, Jack was with 5, Colin from last week with 3, and Max with 3 as well. And that is going to do it for this game for the Sandy Nanners. Thank you guys so much for sticking around here and watching. We will see you guys next week, as I don't know who they're facing. Let's hope they can end the same way that this one did today. Thank you so much for watching.